Stop. Just stop talking to me. Who? You. Don't ask for advice you don't really want. If you want to talk to me, I'll just listen. But if you're actually asking my opinion, here it comes. This is going to be an uncomfortable conversation. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville, and here we are, Season 5, Episode 11, The Lodger. You know, it took me a while to figure out, someone in the chat, I think, when we were watching this in the Discord, we were, Centel and myself were watching this live as we do a number of these. We let people kind of watch us work. And someone had to tell me what a lodger was, and I was like, oh, it's a roommate, but from what I understand, it is kind of like having a efficiency and less paperwork. Seems a weird situation, but whatever. So we have a famous guest cameo, which to us now famous so many years removed is famous. James Corden is in this. James Corden is not my favorite person. I really don't like James Corden. And I understand he has a certain brand of humor that fits for certain people. But at this time, he was fresh off a British sitcom. So he was someone available to use. And as we know, everybody who's anybody in the British acting society probably has come through Doctor Who at one time or another. The TARDIS shows up in London, but for whatever reason, when the Doctor walks off, the TARDIS leaves, takes off again with Amy still inside. She never made it out. So the Doctor has to figure out real quickly, oh hell, what am I gonna do? So he does what he does. He needs to make camp, and he finds an ad for a lodger. And he ends up being roommates with James Corden. But there's something strange about James Corden's building, and we are introduced to his upstairs neighbor. Gives off a very creepy Twilight Zone, you know, one of those type of horror movies where you know damn well you shouldn't go up there. But people keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Hey, can you help me? Sure, what do you need? And then they go in the apartment, and next thing you know, you hear screams, and, well, that's your dumbass. Anyway, to keep this really short, Matt Smith as the Doctor turns James Corden's life upside down. He's a weird, quirky ass dude, and then James Corden, is kind of interesting to see him too. He plays the straight man in this, and he's known for comedy and being a sitcom kind of person, but he plays the straight man, and Matt Smith is the one who's a damn weirdo, which I guess if you let the Doctor move into your house and he's the Doctor, it would be weird. James Corden's character has a relationship with this woman, but you can't really say that she's his girlfriend. He's feeling her, she's definitely feeling him, but he won't make a move. This dude has he's friend zoned himself. A lot of weird happenings keep going on at the upstairs apartment, and people keep going in and they never come back out. The Doctor senses something is off. The upstairs apartment, something's off. He needs to figure out what it is. There's a weird mold growing in the corner of James Corden's living room. That would be the first sign that maybe this ain't the place to find the spare bedroom. But whatever. We get to see the 11th Doctor's football skills as James Corden's team, they're down a man. They need somebody to come play. And while Amy is talking to the Doctor from the TARDIS, they kind of establish communication, but it's spotty because a lot of times something will happen that will make the TARDIS go kind of out of whack. Amy tells the Doctor that he needs to do things to fit in. But in him trying to fit in, he turns his roommate's life upside down. He's overly nosy with his girlfriend. He takes over the damn football team, even steals the ball from his roommate to score a goal. His roommate overslept. The doctor showed up to his job and took over his job and was like, in the first day, he's the best employee in the company, to the point where dude is like, hey, I know you gave me a big old bag of money and I like the money, but what you're doing to my life is too much. You got to go. The whole while, dude is stuck. He doesn't want to live his life. Things are going good for him and he can't leave that. He got this girl he likes, but he doesn't want to make a move. He doesn't want to upset the apple cart, as it is, rock the boat. Because he feels if he asks her out and she rejects him, then everything is lost. And he's like, I don't want to take a chance with that. He doesn't want to chase his dreams. He's going to keep working at a job that he doesn't really like. He's going to keep living in an apartment that's really shitty because he does not want to take the chance to rock the boat. He doesn't want to have an uncomfortable conversation with his boss, with his upstairs neighbor, with his girlfriend, nobody. The doctor doesn't care about any of that. And we come to find out that the presence upstairs is actually an alien. And actually, when he finds the blueprints to the house, there is no upstairs. This house was a single floor. So how the hell is there a whole upstairs? Come to find out that it is a spaceship and it has a perception filter on it, much the same as the TARDIS. So instead of looking like a police box, it looks like a whole upstairs apartment to a house. The alien, he has got stranded on Earth and he's just trying to get home. However, he doesn't have the skills, or there's a AI computer program that basically keeps testing out people. And the people that want to leave, the people that want to go, are the ones that are perfect, but they don't have the strength to power the ship for it to go. James Corden being downstairs, he was never approached because it's obvious he don't want to go no damn where. But his girlfriend, or his girl, she wanted to go. She had some ambition. And she gets taken. James Corden and the doctor go up there. And the spaceship hones in on the doctor, say, oh, he's perfect. They're able to trick the system where the system leaves and it goes back to the stars. And James Corden finally decides to take control of his life, ask the girl out, say, you know what, it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, I'll go, because being with you is enough for me. It's a very weird episode, and it is a complete tonal shift from the last episode, where Vincent the Doctor may be one of the best episodes that I've seen. And it's definitely up in that top tier of episodes that we have watched so far. But this is more slapsticky and sitcom, and it just, okay. You know I love my personal quotes. So this time, today's personal quote is from Earl Richards Jr. A person's success in life can usually be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations that they're willing to have. Why is there a need for an uncomfortable conversation? Fear of rejection, just plain fear, a lot of times is what precludes us from saying the things that need to be said. You know, there's certain people that don't have a filter, and they'll just say any damn thing at any damn time. Whatever pops into their head, they'll say it. And I'm not saying that that's any way, shape, or form of how you should be. I am fully okay with having an uncomfortable conversation. I don't think a lot of people like to have the uncomfortable conversation with me. I don't know if it's a thing between men or women, or it's just me in general. I like to look at things logically. I can completely acknowledge the emotional part of it. And depending on who I'm having a conversation with will depend on how my emotions get involved. I can absolutely have an uncomfortable, logical conversation with my ex-wife. However, she knows how to push my buttons, and it does drift into an emotional space sometimes, and it makes it very difficult for us to conversate on a coherent level. And it's unfortunate. It really is. You know, I wish that we were still friends, but we're not. You know, the people that you value, you need to have an uncomfortable conversation with them when it pertains to you. I'm one of those type of people, don't ask me if you don't want to know. I spent 19 years in the classroom, and I had my students come to me and talk to me all the time. Because at that time, the saying was, I would always keep it real. I didn't sugarcoat shit. I didn't say things to spare your feelings. If you asked me my opinion, then I would give it to you. I did not give my opinion unsolicited. And if I cared for you, I would ask you if you wanted my opinion. But a lot of times people would come and talk to me. Now, you also have to be cognizant of the times that there are sometimes people want to talk to you just as a sounding board. Sometimes they have to hear it out loud. They just need to get something off their chest. They have to say it. They have to hear themselves say it. And then they start making the computations to make it all right. That does not make me a psychologist. I am not anyone's psychologist. At times, I've had some life experiences, but sometimes you have to be available to just listen. I have had times in my life, much earlier on, where that was hard for me, to not just be a man and try to fix the problems. We try to solve shit. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Let it be what it's gonna be. James Corden wouldn't have the uncomfortable conversation. And if you really look at the episode, with everything that was going on in his life, it wasn't until the doctor pushed him into a position that made him so uncomfortable. And that was where he became illogically worried that the doctor was Dr. Steal Your Girl, that he was willing to have an uncomfortable conversation with him, even to the point where he's like, hey, you got to go. Because he didn't want him to take his girl, the one that he was afraid to ask out. One of my best friends continues to have issues in his life, in his love life. And sometimes you need to have that uncomfortable conversation with him. I have that uncomfortable conversation with him often because I love him. And I always let him know whenever I say something, dude, someone in your life has to tell you from the outside looking in, this is how I see it. But at the same time, I recognize you're a grown-ass man and you're going to make whatever decisions you're going to make. And if it falls apart, I will be here to help you pick up the pieces. But I also want you to realize and understand that there's only so much of that shit I'm going to listen to you. Because, and this is not to throw it in your face and say, I told you so. However, as we have all heard the saying, if someone shows you who they are, especially repeatedly, believe them. Now, it's hard sometimes because I know people that tend to make up a narrative in their head, and even with all of the evidence in the world to the contrary, they don't believe that. They believe the story that they've told themselves because that's what makes them feel good. No one wants to be the bad guy in their own story. But sometimes you have to look at, yeah, it was you. My failed relationships, whether that be familial, whether that be friendly, whether that be intimate, I am not 100% devoid of fault or blame. I'm at least 50% up in there. Because sometimes it's not what you did, it's how you responded. And there are several times where I should have leaned in with love and I went back with the wrong reaction. And sometimes it's a chain effect. It has a domino effect. It snowballs into a place where you're like, how the hell did I get here? And sometimes you don't even realize when you did A, that led to B, C, D, E, and on down the line. When if you had made a different choice, said a different thing, and even later on down the line, when you had an opportunity to correct it, to take accountability, you didn't. And that's hard when at some point you said, you know what, I'm going to lean in with love and I'm going to take accountability and I'm going to, but you're dealing with a person who that's not their aim. And it makes your situation unwinnable, untenable. You owe it to yourself not only to have an uncomfortable conversation with those people around you, but with yourself. We avoid that shit like the plague. That's why people avoid therapy. How dare you tell me there's something wrong with me? Even though, isn't that why you went to therapy in the first place? Stop avoiding the uncomfortable conversation, the uncomfortable situations. Face it head on so that you can move head on. This is Rakai Steed, Noob from the Ville. Like, comment, share. It's hard for me to believe that we're almost there. So close, 1,000 subscribers. And it may happen sooner than I would have believed. And it's because of you. And I thank you for that. I will soon announce the results. Once we hit 1,000, I'll go back to the last couple hundred people who became subscribers and do a random drawing to see who I can send some of my merch to. And then also I'm going to do another drawing once we hit our viewing hours number. And I really want to do a contest centered around Vincent and the Doctor. That episode is so amazing. And then our reaction. The YouTube video that you'll see is amazing. The one on Patreon is even better. But if you send me something and listen, don't cheat. It's not worth it. The conversation is good enough for you to listen to the video all the way through, really. And the analytics will tell. But I need 100 people to watch that video, Vincent the Doctor. Watch that video all the way through. And you can see it. It is episode 10, my deep dive, episode 10, season 5. Watch that video all the way through. It's called On the Brink. And once I have 100 people watch it all the way through, I'll do a drawing for a few pieces of merch. I couldn't have done any of this without you, and I thank you and I appreciate you. Make sure, go into the description, watch the last video, On the Brink, about Vincent the Doctor. And then while you're at it, watch the ones before that too, Manifest Destiny. Watch several of these videos. Thank you. See you soon.